Oh, I was on mute. My niece was here the other day. She done fucked up all the settings. I said, kukukukukureya. We're eating some paella. All right, we've been in FIFA land. How are y'all doing? We're doing a mic check. 1 2 1 2. Cat Nah Williams is in here, in the building. Put a 1 in the chat if you guys could hear me. Where are my people at? AV is coming out of FIFA land. Why can't I hear myself? Why can't I hear myself? Because the sounds. This little girl done messed up my whole joint. Man, you can't have kids in studios. It's crazy. All right, y'all are giving me ones. I can't hear myself. That's so strange. What did she do? Is it the output setting? Anywho, chat, I'm chilling. You know, Argentina done lost, okay? We needed them out. And we're going to talk about that for a little bit before I get to everything. Struggle streaming already. You already know. Okay? Viva España. Let's start there. Viva España. And we're going to get to 2Pac because I had done some research Saturday night. The shit I found, chat. You guys would never believe it. You see Alex Spiro in the thumbnail. That's Jay-Z's lawyer. Remember when a woman was like, hey, Jay-Z and Diddy, you know, y'all done did some things to me and I drove 7 hours and none of it logically makes sense. The lawyer that broke that case down has now been assigned to the 2Pac case. Okay, listen. When you see the name Alex Spiro, it's a big thing. Okay, y'all are like W Spain. W Spain. W Spain. No, listen. Nobody. And I scour the internet. Y'all gonna hear the debauchery here first. Nobody was covering. I can't believe it. It brings in 50, it brings in Diddy, it brings in everybody. But first off, we do need to, because there were a lot of 2Pac memes over the weekend that included this really terrible loss for Argentina. And, you know, what's beautiful about the World Cup is that you find these brotherhoods or partnerships in other countries. And I'm not even gonna hold you guys. Today, I fell in love with Mexico. Okay. La raza. Okay. La raza. I fell in love with Mexico. There was at the game yesterday. Obviously, we wanted these assholes to win. Or sorry, assholes meaning Argentinians to lose. We needed justice for the mundo. Okay. Telemundo. We needed justice for the mundo. And man, they just play so dirty. And like for Cape Verde, I'm really not a soccer fan. But like for Cape Verde, this is our first time in the World Cup. So like I was super excited. And like I started watching. And I'm sure with many of you guys, y'all started watching soccer for the first time as well. Football, okay? Regional football. You cannot use your hands. No manos. No manos. Foot. You need to use your pen, all right? So, like, I'm watching, everything's fine. And of course, I'm kind of hate watching. I think the last time I streamed was last Tuesday, where I was going to go watch the England game. And I'm not going to lie, I ordered fish and chips. I sat at that bar and I don't like beer. I still had Prosecco because I'm still a girl. Okay, I'm still a girl. But like the Argentinian fans are so terrible. Like they're so bad. And like, you know, I didn't go full CV. I didn't go full Cape Verdean. I would have went in there like Tubarón Azul in blue, okay? Africa. Okay, Africa. I was so excited for this World Cup. And they were so terrible. But here's the thing. In Cape Verde, we speak like Creole Portuguese. So it's like African Portuguese. So, like, you know, I understand Portuguese. And Portuguese is kind of like Spanish. So, motherfucker, if you over there talking shit in the corner, I can hear what you're saying. And I understand what you're saying. So, you know, these Argentinian fans got a little crazy, right? At the bar that I was at. And like, I'm with my homegirl, and guess what? She Puerto Rican. She Puerto Rican. We can understand the vile things that they were saying. And what's crazy is like, and I bought you guys a little family picture. I want to cover my sisters. All right? My sisters don't want to be shown on the internet. This is me and my dad, man. My dad. I'm the runt of the litter. I just came out like very pale. I don't know why. I don't know why. Don Vicente's in here. You're going to love this rant. So, you know, I hear them talking and they're like saying in Spanish after they won. They were like saying in Spanish, like, oh, you know, because I said something about Vozinha, whatever, and I was cheering for England. I don't care. I just want y'all to lose. The world wants you to lose. The mundo wants you to lose. You guys are horrible. You have to beat people down on the field. Terrible. So I watched what they did to Cape Verde, and we still beat their ass. We took them to the end. And I was like, listen, man, for an African team, come on. Come on. Bring that to the NFL or the NBA. We will destroy y'all. You know what I'm saying? Just super short, running around, hitting people and kicking people illegally. That shit was assault. They did it to Cape Verde. Don't get me started on what they did to Egypt. Okay? We're not going to talk about that. England, Switzerland, just bodying people all over the place. I'm sorry for anybody that's coming in. We're going to get into 2Pac, but I need to get this off my chest. Just bodying people all over the place. Just like, what are you doing? Y'all are like the bulls. And you know, the Spaniards were like, oh, ole, come over here. Like they knew how to handle bulls. So on top of all of that, the light-skinned litigator. On top of all of that, they're talking shit. I see it at the bar. I see what they did to England. And like people started calling it out. But you know what? Shout out to Brazil. Brazil has been calling this out for years. South Americans have been calling this out for years. Like Argentina plays dirty. And then the whole Messi thing, Messi's the GOAT. He's the best player of all time. Man, we're not going to get into it. I thought after I went to war with them, number one, in person at the bar, I didn't go crazy. I didn't go too crazy. But like I started doing some research and I have fallen in love with Mexico. So let's start there. And then we're going to go back to how racist Argentina is. Because I have a platform. And I was thinking about it, and I'm going to come to you in a second, Don Vicente. How racist Argentina is. So I'm going to show y'all 2 quick clips, and then we're going to get into the 2Pac coverage because even that's going to blow your mind. That's going to blow your mind. 2 things, 2 clips on Instagram. Number 1, why I love Mexico, because they're not putting up with it. They're not putting up with it. And number 2, the second clip that I have for you guys on Instagram is the racism in Argentina, especially how they treat Black and brown people. And when I tell you that they have a chain of restaurants called Ninja Burger, I kid you not. Ninja Burger. Okay, I'm not saying that, like, I kid you not, it's with the G's and all of it. I can't say it on YouTube, but they have a restaurant called Ninja Burger, and there are burgers, and they play trap music and all of that. Like, the burger buns are brown. Let's get into these damn clips. You see, you know what I'm saying? You see the TSOJ. You seen it. A Ninja Burger. Let's just go into the clips. Like, I can't hear myself. I don't know why, but I pulled them up for you guys. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Let's go to the first one. So this is a brother. He seems to be of African descent. Here we go.
I'm sure my video will help their brand.
I can't hear it, but let us refresh. Oh, y'all can't hear it. Shit. Sorry.
Has actually accepted and delivers for these guys. So this.
Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Let's learn about Ninja Burger.
Myself. So if you're sensitive, you can swipe away, you know, move from the video. That's up to you. But this picture you're looking at here is a new burger store. It's a real place. It's not AI. It's not parody. It's called Big N. Yeah. They don't serve the burgers with regular white bread. Instead of that, they use dark black bread because, you know, these are burgers. When you get the burger, they write this on the wrapper. Are you seeing this? So you basically order and eat with ketchup and fries. They play rap music in the store. Not Yasin Bey, not Dead Prez, not Common, Talib Kweli, Roots, Nas. No. They don't play any of that kind of music. They play trap music, grills, guns, drugs, booty shaking, music. They didn't call it my or real. It had to be big. So there's no language barrier. No. This is careful branding. And you want to guess where this place is? Argentina. 43,000 Instagram followers and listed on Rappi, which is the South American Uber Eats. So these guys are an official business, and the Argentine delivery ecosystem has actually accepted and delivers for these guys. So this means adults and teenagers from all over Buenos Aires and Argentina can order and eat Big. Now, I told you Argentina is the most racist country in the world. I told you how they wiped out their black community. Both times, Argentines were in my DMs in the comments calling me a liar. But Big is in history. It's right now with thousands of followers validating their existence. And you know what? On their profile, they post black people going to the place and showing them, you know, eating and promoting them. Listen. We're a lost people. We're lost. And look at this dude here. He wants to bring a franchise to Queens, New York. Man, I want to be there in Queens when you open the store. It will be the opening and closing ceremony. Listen, I'm not angry. I'm excited. These guys know exactly what they're doing, and I love it. They're showing the world what Argentina really is, the most racist country in the world. They want the controversy because they know in Argentina, black people don't matter. They wiped most of them out anyway. So I want these guys to be number one. When you think of Argentina, I want you to think of Big Burger, because Argentina is a country where something like this can happen. And people laugh and say you're too sensitive while they eat. If they tried this in Brazil, in Rio, I don't think they make it out alive. Brazil is not Argentina, so people can now stop trying to compare it. Anyway, good luck to these guys. I'm sure my video will help their brand. Many will see this and support them out of spite. because there is nothing a racist loves more than sticking it to the black man. So I hope they become the biggest fast food chain in Argentina. You are truly the ambassadors your country deserves. Like, follow, and share and comment podcasts to discover the true Africa.
Big Ninja Burger? What? Are you serious? This is why I don't like these people, but it's so evident. They don't even hide the racism. They don't care. I Show Speed was at the Cape Verde game. Number one, I knew because I had family members at the damn game and they were throwing shit at us because we were like the last African team outside of Egypt. We were the last ones. So they were actually throwing bottles, beer bottles. And I'm sorry, like we were restrained, but
don't mess with the wrong one. Don't mess with the wrong one.
Like they don't hide it. And they're like short South Americans, 5'2", just short as shit. And like, you know, we got these big Africans. We got Vozinha on the goal, all of that. And like, you know, we lost. Fine, no problem. But like you're throwing shit at people. And then you threw shit at Speed. And he's wearing a Cape Verde jersey. And they were like making monkey mannerisms and things to make fun of us. And then with Egypt, number one, everybody loves Messi. So they took the goals away from Egypt. Okay, the pharaohs were about to rise from the dead, okay? The pharaohs were about to come from up under them pyramids from Africa and come to the US to beat their ass. Because that's how crazy they are. Insane. Then we see England last week. Bellingham had to slap the shit out of one of them little boys on the back of the head because the racism is so evident. Jude Bellingham is clearly a black man. Clearly a black man. He's 22 years old, but guess what? Like me, he understands Spanish. And they called him a dog or a black dog, un perro, or whatever in Spanish. And Jude understands Spanish. So that's that clip where you see Jude smacking the shit out of that little boy on the back of his head. We were like, go ahead, Jude. Go ahead, Jude. Beat his little ass. So that's why the whole world was on Spain's side last night. But I guess my favorite clip, and we are going to go into it. I'm sorry. I promise, guys. I promise. Let me just show you because like it's kind of going viral. But there is a Spanish person, a fan, right? He went to the World Cup game, the final yesterday. And some of you guys might have seen this clip. I love this man. Number one, we all know who Argentina is. They make fun of people. They body people on the field. FIFA doesn't do anything. And I do think yesterday, because Trump was there and he was sitting next to the FIFA president, and Trump said it. I'm not into soccer. I don't know what the fuck this is. I don't know what's going on. But Trump was like, okay, let's watch this. I agree that you can do this in our country. You know, the prime minister from Mexico was there. The prime minister from Canada was there. And this is the first time that Trump has attended a FIFA game. Even though he made that call like, hey, you've got to get the US player. You gave him a red card. No, bring him back. All right, bring him back. It's the United States. We're going to have our player back in. I'm sorry, but Argentina doesn't have that pull. Okay, they don't. Es que tiene. So at the end of the day, Trump bought our player back in, but this is the first time he actually sat down and watched a game. And I do believe that's one of the reasons why the FIFA president couldn't pull that bullshit with Trump next to him, because he would have been like, the game is rigged. It's rigged. Just like the elections, the American elections, he would have tied that shit. He would have put a wall outside of Argentina if we could. A whole Vozinha wall, just in yellow, like keep y'all out, away from everybody. Crazy. And like, here's the thing, the World Cup was so much fun. Scotland came to Boston, they were wearing kilts, they were putting cones on everything. It was amazing. And then you have Holland. Oh my God, the Holland memes. Roo! Roo! It was so much fun. Everybody was chill. Every country, win or lose, it was fun. But then you got Argentina talking about ninja burgers or whatever the hell is happening here. So this Mexico fan, the Argentinians, this is what they do for every game. They talk shit to the other team. And it's always something regarding racism. And in South America, you know, you have indigenous people, Native Americans that were there before the conquistadors came in. So think about if you're from Mexico and you gotta, I mean, no offense, Spain, but you have to look at the colonizers and look at them. Like, everybody was against this team. Everybody was against Argentina. It was Argentina against the world. And the world won. You know? So here's an example. This is a Mexican man. He's so funny. He was like, he knew that they were going to do that shit. Look at what this man did. He was prepared for the racism. Check this out. Oh, that's the end. That's the end. That's the end. Okay, here we go. So here we go. They say something, get out of here, fuera. And you know what he does? He says, that's how you know something's coming. When somebody gives you a thumbs up, like, I was already prepared for your bullshit. Let's keep going. Red card. Stay delete. Get out. Get out. Get out of here. He dances. And she keeps fucking with him. She's just like, that's why y'all are not in the game. He said, oh yeah? Oh yeah? Spain jersey underneath. Spain, Yamal. 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 He had it underneath. It was just like, y'all want to be racist? Guess what? I was prepared for that. I was prepared for it. And that's how predictable they are. They went and tore up, they tore up Atlanta last week. They tore up all the cities that they've been in, leaving messes. Goddamn, Japan cleans up after themselves. Japan had cleaned up. What was it in on the West Coast? They done cleaned up the stadium. The fans were in. They got trash bags. Community. Folded things up, left the locker room pristine, vacuumed, all of it. All right. Like, oh, okay. Now I'm done talking about the World Cups. With 23 minutes, I went in. Let us now look at the bombshell filing that I found for you guys over the weekend. You are not going to believe what I found. And I'm early. I'm so early, chat. I'm so early. Viva Mexico, by the way. I'm so early that nobody's going to see this coming. So, you know, I was getting ready for the Keefe D case that's happening in about 3 weeks. And this is going to be included in the playlist that I'm making for you guys. There's much more content for the rest of the week. Tomorrow we got the David case. Don't know if they're going to televise it because they're locking that down just like they are with Carmelo Anthony. With that case, like, we're not going to have cameras in the courtroom, but now they are limiting the public seats to just 10. So for Celeste Rivas, that's going to be interesting to see how all of this plays out. Tomorrow's a big day in the David case because we need to figure out if there's enough evidence to actually take that one to trial. Dirk had a big win. I talked about that last week. And then we have Yella Beezy. There is a hearing, so maybe I'll do that one on Wednesday. But tomorrow's David Day. Today is Pac Day. You see Alex Spiro. in the thumb. The reason why he comes up is this. So not only is Keefe D being tried for the murder of 2Pac Shakur, his attorney seems very confident, like, oh yeah, it's all circumstantial evidence at best. What a lot of people don't know, and when I dug through the case file, I found a civil lawsuit filed by Mopreme in April. And there hasn't been much movement on it. This is the original complaint, so that's what we're going to read today. But last week, Jay-Z's lawyer signed on as lead counsel for this civil lawsuit. And if Jay-Z's attorney got the Jane Doe case thrown out in like 2 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks, Keefe D might be cooked. Badly. He has money because he had the house. He did the Vlad interviews. He's still getting money from the book, Compton Street Legends. Here's how I know, because I bought the shit 2 days ago. It's coming from Amazon. The book is coming in the mail. So we have that happening. So he's still getting payments from the Amazon book purchases, Compton Street Legends. He did the Vlad interview, Art of Dialogue, the BET interview, all of those things. I'm not sure what those agreements look like, but chat, this document right here is crazy. And I saw it where like people were just posting the first page. So I said, fuck it, I'm gonna buy it. I want to see what's in there. Mopreme lays this all out. And I do want to preface this by saying that the 2Pac family did not know a lot about what actually happened, and they did find out later. You want to know where they found out from? A lot of the facts that are included in this document. 50 Cent's motherfucking documentary, The Reckoning. Wait till we read this. Wait till we read this. 50 Cent's documentary is posted up in this legal document. All of it. And then Diddy is allegedly getting out of jail in a few weeks. Why is nobody talking about this shit? I was over here on the weekend just looking. I was reading. I was like, oh my God, chat's going to go crazy. Chat's going to go crazy. And if Diddy comes out, and then I found a Suge Knight recording recently, within the last year, where he admits that Keefe D told him that Puffy gave him that Puffy ordered the hit. Because Keefe D was not properly paid, but Puffy ordered the hit. Keefe D told Suge that. Why is no one talking about this? We're talking about Dirk. Dirk is good. I'm telling you guys right now. I think Dirk's good. I think Dirk is so good. I think Dirk is fine. You got Brian Steele and Drew Feinling. Like Dirk is okay. Does it mean that what happened was like what happened to Quando Rondo and the other people on the other side? No. I'm just saying, when you have a legal dream team like that, and there are certain names in this legal game, and Cat Not Williams knows, when you see Alex Spiro pop in on a lawsuit, something going on. So let's, like, without further ado, let's 50 Cent set a whole domino effect out. I'm surprised he hasn't been saying anything because, like I said, guys, I don't think a lot of people know. But this was filed at the end of April, and around that time is where they were nailing down the final date of Keefe D's trial. We are now going to August 10th. My understanding is that it will be televised. The date's not going to change. Keefe D is saying how this is unfair and it's circumstantial, blah, blah, blah. But this is a second lawsuit filed by the 2Pac family. And the evidence comes from the 50 Cent documentary. Let's just jump on in because y'all are not going to believe it. Let's start at the beginning. The nature of the action. September 7th, 1996. Your girl was 7 years old. Tupac, widely considered to be one of the greatest rappers of all time, was shot in a drive-by shooting in LA. Sorry, Las Vegas. I said LA. Las Vegas by a gunman in a white Cadillac. Tupac died 6 days later at the young age of 25. For nearly 3 decades, no individuals, 30 years, have been civilly or criminally accountable for the brutal murder whose effects remain palpable to this day. Witnesses were unwilling to cooperate with the police. Investigations immediately following Tupac's murder ran dry. Even a multi-agency task force commissioned several years later to investigate the murders of both Tupac and rapper Christopher Wallace, B.I.G., made no arrests. And y'all have to remember when Keefe D was originally bought in, and we watched the hearing last week. If you're watching in the future, I'm going to leave a card. I did the full hearing last week. Keefe D was there. He was trying to get the book thrown out into the evidence. The judge said no. He was trying to get the 2008 interview out. The judge said no. And then the 2009 interview out. The judge said no. Those things are coming in. The book especially, because it's one thing if you write the book with a co-author and you're admitting to these crimes. I did these crimes. I did these crimes. But then you go on Vlad TV and the Art of Dialogue and all these other places promoting the sales of the book. So I gave him my little $15. I want it back. It'll come back. But like, you're admitting this in print. It's not hearsay. And you guys know I teach you about this stuff. It's not hearsay because hearsay is an out-of-court statement, and it's also secondhand information. When somebody says, person A told me this, and that's how I know this information. It's secondhand information. When you actually pen in hand, write down, let me tell the world how I killed Tupac or worked with other people to kill Tupac, and then Zip took the money, and then Puffy paid for it, and then all of this stuff was happening behind the scenes. Let me write that in a book. And then we got the damn shell casings in your house, Keefe D. Why would you even have that? And then he lived in Henderson, in Nevada. After the fact, he didn't even try to leave the state. Oh, chat. Let's just go back on in because this is so bad. Keefe D is cooked. Before it was just a criminal case, but now we have the civil one coming from the Tupac estate. But I say all that to say that originally in the 2008 interview, Keefe D was bought in because they were questioning him. He had PCP and all type of kilos of cocaine or whatever. He was about to do life in prison. So he was going to talk to see what he can do to get out of that. But they were actually questioning Keefe D on Biggie originally. Biggie. That, I think, is new information to a lot of people. But that was the original reason why he was being questioned by Greg Kading. In the absence of any successful investigations or a single prosecution, conspiracy theories flourished for decades. Some speculated that Biggie, Tupac's perceived rival, was responsible, while others theorized that Suge did it, formerly CEO of Death Row. The theories were countless, but similar in that no matter the alleged perpetrator, many suggested that Tupac's murder was gang-related. Tupac was murdered by members of the South Side Crips after an altercation at the MGM Grand Hotel earlier that evening between Orlando Anderson, Baby Lane, a South Side Crip, and several members of the Death Row Records, including Tupac. Y'all know the footage. Tupac walking through the casino like with the arms, okay? With the arms, you know what I'm talking about? We're going to go through all of that evidence in the next few weeks. Like all my videos are just going to be on this case. It's going to be insane. But you know what I'm saying? With the orange shirt and the arms, he just walked through and like Pac was stomping the dude out. And that's what caused this. Importantly, none of those theories, no matter how widespread, were supported by concrete evidence. Nearly 30 years after Pac's death in 2023, the first and only arrest was made. Related grand jury transcripts and subsequent Netflix documentary, Hey 50, have since revealed the existence of a broader, more complex conspiracy to murder Tupac that involved much more than retaliation for a prior altercation. Despite this additional information, however, the truth remains elusive. Many individuals were involved. They have long since passed away, while others have been hard to identify. Yet one thing is certain. There remain individuals who were involved in Tupac's murder, who for 30 years have not been held accountable for their crimes. This action seeks to change that and recover damages for the wrongful death of Tupac on behalf of the estate of Mopreme Shakur, Tupac's late stepfather and parent. So we do need to talk about that a bit, guys, because if you look at Tupac's family, he passed away when he was 25, 26. His mom, Afeni, huge in the Black Panther Party, has passed away as well. Tupac's biological father, I believe, Afeni, and the biological father split when Tupac was about 2 years old. So Mopreme was Tupac's stand-in or stepfather, who really was a father figure in his life. Some people dispute that. It talks about it here, but Mopreme is one of Tupac's surviving siblings. He has two. He has a sister and Mopreme, the brother, at this point. There's so much to talk about. I want to know who's paying Alex Spiro. There's so many questions here. There's so many questions. But let's keep going. So the stepfathers also passed away. So Tupac's parents, his biological dad might still be alive. They don't talk about it in this document, but his stepfather and his mother are, and Mopreme is technically Tupac's stepbrother. The parties and related individuals. Tupac Shakur was widely regarded as one of the greatest and most influential rappers of all time. Over the course of his career, he sold more than 75 million records worldwide. His body of work, including Tupacalypse Now, Thug Life Volume 1, Me Against the World, and All Eyes on Me, addressed themes of poverty, systematic racism, hello Argentina, and inner city life with directness and emotional depth that resonated across generations, cultures, and socioeconomic classes. Tupac was just 25 when he died on September 3rd of 1996. Afeni was Tupac's mother. In 97, Afeni filed, let's keep this in our back pocket, guys. Afeni filed a wrongful death action against Orlando Anderson and others for the death of her son in the Superior Court of the State of California, also where this is filed. Right? I will pull that one just so we have it. On March 3rd, the Superior Court, on March 3rd, 1999, so she filed it in 97. The case took 2 years to go through the system. The Superior Court dismissed it without prejudice. Mopreme was Tupac's stepfather. Mopreme married Tupac's mother, Afeni, when Tupac was 4. I said 2, so it's 4. Mopreme was involved in Tupac's life from the time he was 1 year old and functioned as Tupac's father in all material respects from that point forward. Under California Probate Section 6453, a step-parent qualifies as a parent for purposes of intestate succession where the parent holds him or herself out as the parent of the child. So you guys know this stuff is important. Like, let's say the parents are not married. It says stepfather. So I think what they're doing is spelling out the law in the state of California. So, because we're at the beginning of the lawsuit, they're trying to say, who are you? We're in the party section. So what authority do you have over this person's estate? Because this is not Matulu filing this. This is not Afeni filing this. This is Mopreme. Okay. So stepbrother filing this, what authority does he have over the estate? Matulu's relationship with 2Pac began in 2Pac's infancy and continued without interruption until 2Pac's death. As Matulu stated, I've been with 2Pac from the time I was 1 year old. I'm his friend and his comrade. Matulu treated 2Pac as his own son, held him out to the world as such, and raised him alongside Afeni in the context of their shared involvement in the Black liberation movement. 2Pac's biological father, William Billy Garland, acknowledged Matulu's role in 2Pac's upbringing, stating that Matulu was there for my son when I wasn't. Look at what we have here. That is quoted from The Art of Dialogue in 2023. So I'll be checking out Billy Garland's interviews too, just so we're all on the same page. During 2Pac's childhood, Matulu and Afeni worked in community programs in the South Bronx. Afeni works at the Bronx Legal Services, providing legal services for tenants facing displacement and standard housing. Matulu worked at Lincoln Detox, an anti-drug program. 2Pac was raised in this environment of community activism and witnessed the struggles of that ordinary people had firsthand. As Matulu describes, he learned a lot from the people. He hung out around with struggle people. People were struggling for things. He listened to meetings. He was at all the meetings. He was a part of that struggle as a young child as he developed. Matulu further stated that 2Pac experienced what people experience growing up, including periods without adequate food, heat, or stable housing. This shared experience formed the foundation of the father-son bond between Matulu and 2Pac. Very, very lengthy 7th paragraph there, but they're trying to really harp on the fact that Matulu and 2Pac were close, and I told you guys why, right? Because of the estate suing, you need to show or establish that there was some level of relationship to satisfy the probate hurdles that we'll have here. 2Pac publicly acknowledged Matulu as his father by adopting Matulu's last name, Shakur. That's where that comes from. So he could have been 2Pac Garland, which is strange, but 2Pac Shakur is what we all know. 2Pac also referenced Matulu in his music, and while Matulu was incarcerated, 2Pac advocated publicly and passionately for his release from federal custody, which further demonstrates the depth of their relationship. So you have an image here. Looks like that is Matulu and 2Pac together when he was a kid, and a picture of 2Pac and Matulu in 1993. You also have some images here. These, I believe, are at the Peninsula Hotel, and it's in their museum section, I guess. And these are from 2Pac. He has very distinct handwriting. I've studied some of his poems and books, so I can tell that that's 2Pac's handwriting. But it says, I ride for Matulu. She. We have a phone number here as well. We have a pager number. Y'all remember pagers? Man, if you remember pagers, can you put a 1 in the chat? I used to call my mom after school every day, and I had to page her. Like, just boop, 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 boop. And then when she didn't call me back, I had to hit 911 and pound. So like, y'all remember pagers? So we got some pager numbers. Okay, all right. Everybody remembers pagers. Okay, all right, okay. Y'all got me talking over here like what's his name? Denzel. But we have some Sky page numbers. We have Suge's phone number, it looks like. And it does say I'm in my room. Please notify me in 30 minutes in advance when you are ready to I can't tell what he says. Thank you. Interesting. Okay, this is a photo of Tupac's handwriting in a hotel notepad that shows that he was at the peninsula. Tupac was writing a song about Mutulu. Tupac also supported his father financially. Tupac's business records show that he regularly provided Mutulu with money during his incarceration. Indeed, records demonstrate that Mutulu is financially dependent on Tupac prior to his murder. There was no evidence that Tupac provided financial support to his biological father, Mr. Garland. This further confirms that Tupac viewed Mutulu, not Garland, as his father. I don't know. We're going to have to talk about that, chat, in the comments of what you guys think about it. Afeni had 2 children, Tupac and I always struggle with saying her name. Sikiwa. How do I not know how to say her name? But Tupac's sister, I've seen her in many interviews. She's a sharp lady, really loves this. I'm so sorry I'm butchering your name right now, but I will get it right. Under California's intestate succession laws, Afeni and Mutulu had the right to inherit all of Tupac's estate. The California rule that Tupac's biological father was not entitled to any of Tupac's estate. As Afeni and Mutulu had the right to inherit Tupac's estate, they also had standing to bring a wrongful death suit on his behalf, which the mom did. Mutulu died. I didn't know that he passed in 2023 in LA. Afeni died in 2016, also in California. Upon their deaths, their right to assert cause of action for wrongful death of Tupac survived pursuant to California's survival statute. The estate of Mutulu Shakur may therefore bring a wrongful death action under Section 37760. So keep in mind, this is coming through Mutulu, stepfather. I did find that odd because if his sister is still alive, and that's Tupac's biological sister, that they share the same parents, could have gone through her. But this is going through Mopreme, who is him and Tupac share the same dad, not the same mother. But they seem close, though. Like, they do interviews together, Mopreme and the sister. In October 23, the Superior Court of California in LA issued a letter of administration appointing Mopreme, so this is what gives Mopreme the authority, Tupac's stepbrother and Mutulu's oldest child, as the administrator of the estate of Mutulu. So paragraph 12 shows you that Mutulu's estate is, let's go to the top, is the entity suing on behalf of Tupac. All right. So you have Maurice Shakur, aka Mopreme, as the administrator of the estate of Mutulu Shakur, suing Keefe D and Does 1 through 100. We're going to talk about that because Keefe D is not the only person in this lawsuit. Diddy's ass might be in here too. So there's a lot of people, John Does, Jane Does, people getting sued by the estate of Mutulu. So I just wanted to talk through the mechanics of that. All right. Now that we got that part down, let's talk about Keefe D. Duane Keith Davis, also known as Keefe D, was a senior member and a shot caller of the Southside Compton Crips, a subset of the Crips street gang based in the Southside of Compton, California. On September 7th, Keefe D was in the white Cadillac alongside the gunman who shot Tupac. On September 29th of 2023, years later, a Clark County grand jury indicted Keefe D for first-degree murder, even though he didn't pull the trigger. Keefe D is the only individual who has been criminally charged in connection with Tupac's murder. Defendants John Does 1 through 100. I want to know who they are individuals whose true identities and whose specific roles in the conspiracy to murder Tupac are not presently known to the plaintiff with sufficient certainty to permit identification in this complaint. While the investigation and public record have revealed the names of certain individuals who may have participated in or facilitated the murder, the specific nature and extent of each individual's involvement and the entities of additional individuals who may have participated in planning, financing, directing, and carrying out the conspiracy remain unknown. So this also shows me that Mopreme and team didn't know a lot going into this. To date, plaintiff has been unable to confirm through independent investigation the precise roles of specific individuals and to distinguish among potential defendants with the certainty required to name them in the complaint. So what he's saying here is, if I know who you are, I'll put your goddamn name in here. But a lot has to come out through discovery. And we're going to talk about the 50 Cent documentary in a minute. Plaintiff identifies these defendants by fictitious names pursuant to California civil procedure and will amend the complaint to state the true names and capacities of the Doe defendants when the same have been ascertained through discovery. Big thing there, chat. What does that mean? It happened in the Karen Reed case. When you have a civil complaint at the same time as a criminal complaint, you can sue somebody for wrongful death. So every piece of evidence that comes out in the Keefe D trial can be used in this case right here. That's why they do the wrongful death thing. What Afeni did is she sued for wrongful death, but who are you suing? You got to know, right? You have to know who the named assailants are. When Keefe D got arrested and he started ratting and self-snitching on himself, and some people are like, AV, how is this snitching? He was coerced. He was coerced when he had PCP and cocaine and all that stuff. That's coercion because he didn't want life. That's coercion. Sure. Let's keep going. I'm going to skip jurisdiction and venue because it's proper. Tolling and delayed discovery. This action is timely under delayed discovery rule and doctrines of fraudulent concealment. California law provides that a cause of action does not accrue until the plaintiff discovers or has a reason to discover the cause of action. So they're basically giving us case law saying that, it took a while, right? Nearly 3 decades. Tupac was shot in 1996. The identities of people who carried out his murder were not known to Mopreme and could not have been discovered through the exercise of reasonable diligence. Immediately following Tupac's death, the Las Vegas Police Department opened a criminal investigation. They claimed the investigation stalled due to witness non-cooperation and lack of physical evidence. By the late 1990s, the homicide investigators considered this to be a cold case. The mom, as mentioned, filed a wrongful death action against Orlando. I did say who, but Orlando died. That action was dismissed without prejudice in 99. Orlando was murdered in 98. That's likely why it was dismissed, and an alleged unrelated incident. The action was based on the then prevailing theory that Anderson was a triggerman acting in retaliation for the personal altercation with Tupac in that MGM surveillance footage. The action did not and could not have identified the broader conspiracy alleged herein, including the involvement of individuals financed, directed, and coordinated the murder. Pay attention to this sentence. Including the involvement of individuals who financed, directed, and coordinated the murder. Keefe D's in jail. Zip is dead. Orlando Anderson is dead. So you got Keefe D. Who's the other incarcerated person? Puffy. Y'all heard it here first. Puffy. Puffy, Puffy, Puffy. financed, directed, coordinated the murder. As such, the theory of liability in this case is fundamentally different from the theory underlying Afeni's lawsuit, because she went after Orlando. Mopreme is going after, I think, Puffy and Keefe D. Keefe D is a chess piece on the board, but he is not the intended target here. In or around 2006, the LA Police Department created a joint task force to investigate the murder of Biggie. During the course of that investigation, the task force obtained information regarding the 2Pac shooting. In 2010, the task force was disbanded without making any arrests. So 2006 to 2010. So y'all were working for 4 years without any results. Great way to spend taxpayer dollars. And its investigation files were not made available to the public or 2Pac's family and remain unavailable to this day. Greg Kading has them in a banker's box. In or around 2024, members of 2Pac's family contacted 2024, guys, 2 years ago. They contacted Greg Kading, who led the task force, and requested access to his case files. In addition, the individuals responsible for 2Pac's murder and those who financed, directed, and coordinated it, there's that damn sentence again, engaged in a deliberate and sustained pattern of concealment and denial spanning nearly 3 decades, which prevented plaintiff from discovering the factual basis for the claims alleged herein. Those who have been identified as potentially involved, Diddy, have denied it. Witnesses refused to come forward or cooperate, and law enforcement failed to make any arrests for nearly 30 years in connection with 2Pac's murder. Now, the other thing is what happened in 2023-2024. Keefe D is arrested in 2023. Diddy, I think, got arrested in 2024 because it was around the time we were doing the Young Thug trial. When these guys go into the system, things change a bit, doesn't it? Things change a bit. Let's keep going. On September 29th, the Las Vegas Police Department arrested Keefe D and charged him with the murder of 2Pac, the first arrest in connection in 27 years. In or around 2023, portions of the grand jury transcript from Keefe D's criminal proceedings were obtained and reported on by various media outlets. Those transcripts revealed for the first time in a public and credible forum the substance of Keefe D's proffer session with LAPD and the FBI, including statements regarding the involvement of individuals beyond those present in the white Cadillac used during the shooting. But the prosecution's focus in the Keefe D criminal case was exceedingly narrow. During pretrial proceedings, they're watching all of us, the DA relied heavily on investigative files compiled by Greg Kading. So this also gives us a clue on what we're going to see in the next 2 to 3 weeks. We're going to call them the Kading files, to oppose Keefe D's bail application, citing them as evidence that Keefe D posed a threat to the community. Upon information and belief, those files suggest a broader network of individuals involved in 2Pac's killing. Yet at a subsequent hearing and in response to the defense counsel's complaint, in relying on Kading's files while simultaneously withholding from discoveries, the prosecutors changed course. The prosecutors now argued that the Kading files were not subject to disclosure because they did not intend to rely on them in their case in chief. This representation made clear that the state of Nevada had no intention on investigating or prosecuting the broader conspiracy. So they're trying to nail Keefe D for the murder, but they are not looking at the other people that were involved in the conspiracy, which is wild work. If you're going to investigate one crime, you have to look at the other crimes that subsequently are connected to it. Conspiracy being one of them. We just saw that shit in the Julio Fulio case. Gutter Zay is like, Leisha, what about Alicia? What about Alicia? Alicia just got this light of time. I got life. I did this. You know what I mean? And Gutter Zay had conspiracy under him, and so did she. So who are the people that are connected to this? And this is why I'm telling you guys, we're doing it early, but this is much bigger than what people see on the surface level. All right. The DA clarified its position, calling a call with the Shakur family on or about May 24th of 2024. During that call, representatives from the DA's office confirmed that the office did not intend to charge any additional defendants. This had to be around the time Diddy was arrested. The DA remained open in charging new defendants based on new evidence, but the limited scope of their case is too familiar to the Shakur family. Another investigation whose fact finders were unable or unwilling to pursue charges against the broader network of individuals who financed, directed, and coordinated 2Pac's murder. They're talking about Diddy, dude. Like, this sentence is going to keep coming up. It is a Diddy sentence. As a result, 2Pac's family, including Mopreme, had little means to uncover the full scope of the conspiracy that led to 2Pac's untimely death. But they tried. The Shakur family attempted their own investigation, which, described below, failed to produce any leads. In the wake of Keefe D's arrest, news outlets reported that 2Pac's family retained this law firm to investigate the facts surrounding 2Pac's murder and evaluate potential civil claims. Clearly, the family sought accountability for 2Pac's death. Unfortunately, their efforts yielded no credible, actionable information sufficient to identify the full scope of the conspiracy. Even after retaining counsel, asking questions, and those questions were unanswered. The identities and roles of individuals beyond those present in the white Cadillac, including individuals who financed, directed, and coordinated the murder, there's that Diddy sentence, were not ascertainable from the grand jury transcripts alone. Here is the bombshell, chat. Are you ready? I was reading this, and I was like, I can't wait to tell them on Monday. Here we go. Paragraph 32. On December 2nd of 2025, Netflix released a documentary titled Sean Combs: The Reckoning, which contained first-person accounts from individuals close to Diddy during this time period. Those accounts provided additional facts not previously available to the public or 2Pac's family, including facts bearing on the planning, financing, and motivation behind the murder. There's a damn Diddy sentence. We have a Diddy sentence. So Mopreme, just like all of us, was at home watching 50 Cent's Trolling and The Reckoning, and you have people in that documentary giving firsthand accounts of what happened in 2Pac's murder. I think it was episode 2 or 3. Because there was that was a 5-episode series. I did videos on it. I know, I watched it like 3-4 times because I had to write scripts for you guys. I remember what episode he's talking about. So if you have people that are giving 50 firsthand accounts of what they saw, what they witnessed, all of that stuff, got him. But this implicates Diddy much more than anything else. While the grand jury transcripts and a Netflix documentary have been useful in giving details about 2Pac's death, neither identifies with certainty all of those involved. And at no point prior to their release could Mopreme have known or reasonably discovered the factual basis for the claims alleged in this complaint. Despite their efforts, Mopreme remains unable to identify all of the Doe defendants and their respective roles in 2Pac's murder. Accordingly, this action was filed within 2 years of the date in which the plaintiff first discovered, or could have discovered, the factual basis for the claims alleged herein. To the extent of the statute of limitations accrued longer than 2 years ago, the repeated denials by potentially responsible parties and lack of cooperations to witnesses to a crime collectively amount to fraudulent concealment, and together with law enforcement inability to identify suspects for nearly 30 years, warrant equitable tolling. So they're just basically trying to say, let's get around the statute of limitations. How do we do that? Next, Keefe D himself engaged in deliberate acts of concealment designed to prevent the discovery of his involvement in 2Pac's murder. Immediately following the shooting, Keefe D instructed his nephew Orlando not tell anybody what happened, not even your mama. Oh Jesus, is that in the grand jury documents? We're gonna hear that at trial. Don't tell anybody what happened, not even your mama. No, this trial is gonna be crazy. I can already see it. Keefe D also convened a meeting with his crew and directed them to manage the aftermath of the killing, further ensuring that the circumstances of 2Pac's murder would remain hidden. Keefe D's concealment was not limited to the immediate aftermath. For decades, he provided inconsistent accounts of the shooting, shifting blame to the roles of the participants. Even Keefe D's 2008 proffer, in which he provided more detailed account, was subject to a confidentiality agreement, and contents were not made available to the public or 2Pac's family for decades. And immediately following the arrest, Keefe D disavowed any involvement. Yeah, his story changes a lot. How do you go on Vlad and say I did it? How do you write in a book and say I did it? And then when you get arrested, I didn't do it. What? I didn't do it. It's insane. Moreover, though defendants engaged in parallel pattern of concealment and denial spanning nearly 3 decades, together these acts of concealment by the very defendants whom this action is bought prevented plaintiff Mopreme from the factual basis of the claims. So, here are the facts. 37. 2Pac was one of the most celebrated and influential recording artists of his generation. To this day, he is widely regarded as the greatest rappers of all time, with over 75 million records sold worldwide. 2Pac was heralded for his raw, emotionally charged lyrics and unmatched ability to blend personal vulnerability with searing social commentary. His music was not merely entertainment. It was a mirror held up to the American society, unflinching and deeply human. In or around late 1990, 2Pac signed as a recording contract as a solo artist with Interscope. 91 and 93, he released 2Pacalypse Now and Strictly My Ninjas, respectfully. I just think about freaking Argentina. 2Pac's first 2 albums were highly successful, and they put him in the forefront. In 91, he met Suge and Dre, Dr. Dre, and the DOC, and they founded Death Row in LA with financing from Harry O. Suge was the company's CEO. Though Death Row was founded in 91, it did not distribute any music until the end of 92, where Dr. Dre's The Chronic was released. Upon information and belief, the success of The Chronic established Death Row in the music industry. In 93, Diddy was fired. This is where the smoke starts. In 93, Diddy was fired from a New York-based record label, Uptown, where he previously served as a talent director. Diddy left Uptown with rap artist Biggie to start his own label. In the same year, Diddy and Kirk Barrows, this is coming from a documentary. They founded Bad Boy in New York City with Biggie as its first artist. By the time Diddy founded Bad Boy, Death Row was already well known. The label had a roster of artists including Dre, Snoop, who released Doggy Style in 93. So 92 you had Dre, 93 you have Snoop. Another massively successful album. As such, Death Row was an established name when Bad Boy was in its infancy. They need y'all to know that. Death Row was here first. During this period, 2Pac was signed to Interscope. His music was so successful that in 94, he secured a deal to form his own label, Out the Gutter Records, okay, which was distributed by Interscope. Pac subsequently released Thug Life Volume 1 and Me Against the World, to massive acclaim. Both remain two of the most influential hip-hop albums of all time. Diddy took notice of Pac's success and, according to Barrows, began to dissect 2Pac's music to determine what was behind 2Pac and other West Coast rappers' success. Diddy hoped to replicate what he learned on the East Coast. Look, it comes from episode 1 of The Reckoning. Oh my God, 50 Cent done opened a whole can of worms with that documentary. Prior to the now infamous East Coast West Coast rap rivalry between Bad Boy and Death Row, Biggie and Tupac were friends. Indeed, Biggie sent a demo of his breakthrough album Ready to Die to Tupac before it was released. Pac and his cousin William Lassane reportedly listened to the record on repeat. Look, it's quoted from episode 1 of 50's documentary. Biggie invited Pac to his album release party, and Pac insisted on attending as he was very excited for Biggie's rising career. In the midst of Tupac's continued success, upon information and belief, Diddy expressed interest in working with Tupac and offered to sign him to Bad Boy. Quoted from episode 2 of The Reckoning. Tupac declined. 50! Jeez, it's all in here. The East Coast West Coast rap rivalry started in November of 94. Tupac was shot and injured under suspicious circumstances. Pac was in New York recording a song with DJ Ron G. Soon after, an agent associated with Uptown, Diddy's old record label, paged Tupac and requested that he record a song with Lil Sean at Quad Recording Studios. Tupac said, sure, fine. He agreed to the session for a fee to help pay for his legal expenses related to criminal pending charges. You guys remember that grape case that he had. While on his way to the studio, the agent repeatedly paged Tupac asking where he was and if he was coming. Biggie was already there with Lil C's. Quoted from The Reckoning, episode 2. Upon information and belief, Lil C's noticed Pac's car approaching, informed Biggie, and said he would meet Tupac out front to escort him upstairs. And when Lil C's exited the elevator in the lobby, he was confronted by several armed men who demanded that he get back on the elevator. That's what C's said. Moments later, Pac approached the studio entrance. Those men shot him multiple times and stole his gold jewelry. Tupac publicly stated that he believed Diddy was behind the shooting. Tupac was convicted of the abuse claims on December 1st of 94, the day after he was shot. Why do y'all do that? Come on, New York court system. Somebody just got shot 5 times. You're going to haul them into... I didn't know this. When I was reading this over the weekend, I was like, are you kidding me? The day after he was shot, they brought him to court. Tupac could not afford bail pending appeal. That's also interesting. Why? Despite 2 of his albums charting, Interscope declined to advance the funds against his royalties or against an extension of his recording contract. That's why he sat in jail. But Suge offered to finance Pac's appeal and post bail on one condition. Pac would have to agree to sign a 3-album deal with Death Row. Tupac agreed, and then he was released in 95 on $1.4 million on an appellate bond. That's a lot of money back then. In 95, that's a crazy amount of money. But Suge Knight posted that bond. It was later revealed that Interscope gave Death Row and Suge the money to post the bond. So he was still signed with Interscope, but Interscope gave the money for Tupac to come out. Less than 3 months after the shooting in February, Biggie released the song Who Shot Ya. Some of the lyrics include Who shot ya? Separate the weak from the obsolete. Hard to creep them book in them Brooklyn streets. Ninjas know the lyrical molesting is taking place. Effing with Big, B.I.G. ain't safe. And I'm Crooklyn's finest. You rewind this. Bad boys behind this. To many, these lyrics suggested that Biggie was more broadly behind the November shooting. The rivalry between Death Row and Bad Boy was on public display on August 3rd at the Source Awards. Y'all know who I'm talking about. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Death Row Records received the award for Soundtrack of the Year. And during his acceptance speech, Suge Knight famously stated, any artists out there that want to be an artist and want to stay a star and don't want to have to worry about an executive producer trying to be in all the videos, on all the records, dancing, come to Death Row. Suge Knight's statements, in particular those concerning an executive producer trying to be in all the videos, on all the records, dancing, were clearly meant to insult Diddy, who at the time featured prominently, often dancing, damn Mopreme, in music videos released by his recording artists and distinguished Death Row Records as more hardcore, authentic hip-hop music. Diddy confronted Suge about the insult during an after-party at the Tunnel, a popular since-closed nightclub in New York. By all accounts, the exchange between the two men was heated. 7 weeks later, September 23rd, 95, Big Jake, a Death Row Records bodyguard, some of y'all remember this, was shot and killed outside the Platinum House nightclub in Atlanta during another heated exchange between Suge and Diddy. During the argument, a man appeared with a pistol, shot Big Jake, and fled the scene. Big Jake died several days later from injuries sustained during the shooting. Upon information and belief, Suge Knight informed others, including Reggie Wright, and we're going to talk about Reggie because Reggie is important here. Reggie Wright comes up a lot. Hang on, y'all. I know y'all hear Luna out there. I'm just trying to text my brother because he's playing with her. I'm like, bro, I'm recording. Sorry. Upon information, so Big Jake died several days later from injuries sustained during the shooting. Upon information and belief, Suge Knight, including Reggie Wright, a former Compton police officer and head of security for Death Row, that he believed that Diddy was responsible for Big Jake's death, further escalating the feud between the two popular record labels. Around 95, rumors circulated that Tupac had an affair with Faith Evans. Not Mopreme putting this in the complaint. In January 96, New York Times Magazine article says, does a sugar bear bite? What? Published comments from Tupac and Suge Knight suggesting the rumors were true. In June of 96, Tupac released the song Hit 'Em Up. The lyrics included, suck ass, I ain't got no mother effing friends. That's why I F yo B, you fat mother effer. Take money. These lyrics, clearly directed at Biggie, suggested that the rumors about the relationship between Pac and Faith were true. Individuals close to Diddy have recently confirmed that Diddy was incensed by the continued rise of Death Row, and more specifically, the success of Hit 'Em Up. So Diddy was mad. Diddy was mad. He said, y'all over here making all this money on Hit 'Em Up. This is getting intense. So as I was reading this, I was like, damn, this is reading like a novel. It's reading like a book. F. Keefe D's book. I was reading this complaint over the weekend. I said, God damn. Street gangs in the hip hop industry. By the early 1990s, factions of the rival Crips and Blood street gangs had strongholds on Compton. A group of individuals, mostly attending Centennial High School, lived and around Piru Street and Compton, considered themselves to be members of the West Side Pirus. I hope I'm saying that right. Pirus, or the mob Piru set of Bloods. The Piru set of Bloods primarily controlled the north side of Compton. The gang, commonly referred to as the Crips, started in South Central LA in the 1970s. A group of them moved to South Central and to Compton, claiming various territories throughout Compton's South Side, dubbing themselves the South Side Compton Crips. The Bloods and the Crips have historically been rivals, their violent clashes leaving devastation in their wake. The Pirus and the Crips continued this bloody tradition. Suge grew up on Compton's north side and was affiliated with the Bloods, often relying on Blood members to provide security to death row artists and other record label associates. Keefe D, Orlando Baby Lane Anderson, Keefe D's nephew, and Big Dre Smith were all members of the Southside Crips. Eric Von Zip, here comes Zip, was a close associate of Diddy, was a well-known gangster and prolific drug dealer in Harlem. Okay, and has ties to Keefe D and the Southside Crips. So Zip grew up in New York. Upon information and belief, shortly after Suge Knight's comments at the Source Awards, Zip traveled to Cali and met with Keefe D. While the two were together, Zip received a phone call from Diddy, who asked to speak with Keefe D. Diddy reportedly asked Keefe D if the Southside Crips could provide protection for bad boy artists during an upcoming BET tour scheduled to take place in Anaheim. Keefe D agreed to do so in exchange for tickets to the concert for members of his crew. Hey, protect us. Keefe D's dumbass. What did he say? Brother Love, I'll show you some love, Brother Love. But if I go and provide the protection, Brother Love, you got to give us tickets. Why didn't you ask for money? From then on, the Southside Crips provided protection for bad boy artists whenever they traveled to Cali. And as a senior member of the Southside Crips, Keefe D managed the relationship between the gang and Bad Boy. Wright, Death Row Records head of security, observed Southside Crips members in large numbers at events with Bad Boy Records, and specifically identified Keefe D as being present with the Bad Boy entourage. At the Soul Train Awards in LA, at the Shrine Auditorium in 1996, and this is in March, Death Row Records brought approximately 50 to 60 people. So they were 50, 60 deep. And that included 8 to 10 artists and numerous members of the Pirus. I'm probably saying it wrong, guys. Don't make fun of me. Bad Boy Records and its entourage were also present, including Keefe D and other members of the Southside Crips. A confrontation occurred between Death Row and Bad Boy entourages in the parking lot, which a firearm was brandished. 2Pac was there. He was among the most vocal during the altercation. In or around the summer of 96, Orlando Anderson was involved in a fight with a Death Row associate at the Lakewood Mall in LA. Trayvon Lane, one of 2Pac's bodyguards, was at the mall with several Piru. Piru, I'm saying it wrong. Lane was wearing a diamond-encrusted necklace gifted to him by Suge Knight, indicating his affiliation with Death Row. Suge Knight reportedly gifted similar necklaces to other members, right? So he's gifting these chains. In response, Southside Crips placed a bounty on individuals wearing these chains. Interesting. Members of the Crips confronted Lane at the mall, fought him, and attempted to steal his chain. Weird. Anderson was among the Southside Crip members involved in this incident. Suge, Tupac, and Wright learned about the fight and the Southside Crips' alleged involvement. All right, let's get to murder night. On September 7th, in 96, at the MGM Grand, Nevada hosted a boxing match between Tyson and Sheldon. Members of the Crips, including Keefe D, Anderson, and Smith, were in attendance. Tupac, Suge, and other members of Death Row, including Lane and members of the Bloods, were also present. After the fight, Lane identified Anderson in the lobby of the MGM Grand as one of the individuals involved in the Lakewood mob incident. Tupac, Suge, Lane, and others confronted Anderson in the lobby, resulting into the widely publicized and recorded brawl. That is that, video of Tupac in orange walking over, and he looked, he looked a little pissed. He was walking over there, you know what I mean? And he was ready to go ham. After the fight, Tupac and his entourage regroups at a nearby Luxor hotel. That's the on the Vegas Strip. You guys know the pyramid-looking hotel, where he and others affiliated with Death Row were staying. The group planned to attend a charity concert for a youth boxing program at Club 662, which Suge Knight owned. Pac and the Outlaws, a rap group Tupac founded, were scheduled to perform at that event. Upon information and belief, members of the Crips were aware of the event and Tupac's performance. After the fight, Keefe D and others armed themselves, traveled to Club 662, the parking lot, in 3 cars with 3 to 4 people in each car, and waited for over an hour. Keefe D concealed in his vehicle a black 40 caliber Glock semi-automatic pistol that he received from Zip. After waiting for over an hour without seeing Suge or Pac, they were waiting in, how do you say it? What is it? Lying in wait, waiting in late? I don't know. I'm tired. Damn it. I'm like 20 pages in out of 32. Sorry, y'all. Upon information and belief, Tupac, Suge, lying in wait. Upon information and belief, Tupac, Suge, and others got into several cars and began driving to Club 662. Suge and Pac were the first in the vehicle. Suge's black 1996 BMW 750. Suge drove and Pac was in the front passenger seat. Pac's security guard, Frank Alexander, and his childhood friends from the Outlaws, Idi Amin and Castro, and Yaki Gaddafi were in the car immediately behind the BMW. This is the last, this is a little sad, this is the last photograph of Tupac alive. It's taken by Leonard Jefferson moments before the shooting. At approximately 11 p.m., Suge and Pac were stopped by local police for not properly displaying their license plate. As the convoy made its way down to LA, the strip was congested with post-fight traffic. So there's a lot of traffic there. Leonard Jefferson, who was casually acquainted with Tupac, recognized Pac and Suge. While stopped at the red light, he briefly spoke to Tupac, who invited him to come to the club. Jefferson grabbed a camera, and that was the camera, that was the camera that just took that last photograph that we saw. This is the last known image of Tupac alive. A short time later, Tupac and Suge spoke to 2 women driving a Chrysler Sebring at the red light at the intersection of Flamingo and Koval. And upon information and belief, invited the women to come to the club too. So they were just inviting everybody. Soon after that encounter, after leaving 662, the white Cadillac with Keefe D and others crossed path with Tupac's group. Upon information and belief, the occupants of the white Cadillac included Bubble Up, who was the driver, Keefe D. This is a big thing. This is why I need to dissect this book. Keefe D was allegedly in the front passenger seat. Orlando Anderson was in the right rear passenger seat, and DeAndre Smith in the rear driver's seat. Okay, that comes from the grand jury transcript. Upon information and belief, Cadillac's rear driver's seat window lowered and an individual opened fire, emptying 5 shots into Suge's BMW. 2Pac was shot 4 times. The right chest, the right thigh, the right hand. So you got 3 wounds from the side. Suge suffered only minor injuries to his head. He got grazed. 2Pac was taken to the medical center after the shooting and admitted to regional trauma. Surgeons removed 2Pac's lung to stop the bleeding. Damn. No amount of surgical intervention, however, could save 2Pac's life. 6 days later, 2Pac died from his injuries. After the shooting, Keefe D reportedly told Anderson not to tell anybody what happened, not even your mama. He even called a meeting of his crew and told the youngsters to handle the young ninjas from the rival neighborhood. We, the older dudes, would handle the big mother effers. This led to what has been called the 10-day war between the Bloods and the Crips, during which approximately 10 people were killed. 6 months after 2Pac's death, Biggie was murdered in a drive-by shooting in LA. Answers concerning 2Pac's death remain elusive. Nearly 30 years later, the truth surrounding 2Pac's death has been difficult to ascertain. Numerous state and federal law enforcement agencies have, at various points, investigated his murder, but for decades, no charges were ever brought. In the intervening years, witnesses and suspects were killed. Some of those still living previously provided inconsistent accounts or no accounts at all. Nobody was saying anything. Nobody was telling. During the immediate aftermath of the shooting, the Las Vegas Police Department opened a criminal investigation. Though Suge was sitting next to 2Pac when he was shot, he reportedly told investigators he heard something but saw nothing. In or around September 12th, the LA Sheriff's Department informed LAPD that an informant identified Anderson as a triggerman. In or around October, the Compton Police Department raided 39 locations in connection with the shooting, including the residence of DeAndre Smith, Terrence Brown, Keefe D, and Orlando Anderson. So y'all raided 39 spots, and Keefe D's was one of them. Compton Police Department testified, "We arrested many of them." This comes from the grand jury transcript. Upon information and belief, Anderson was questioned by the Compton Police Department at the time, though he was never arrested and charged with 2Pac's murder. Law enforcement considered, I don't know how to pronounce this, Yafiu Fula? I don't know. That sounds like some Argentinian shit. To be a viable witness, potentially capable of identifying 2Pac's assailants because he was traveling in the car directly behind. Oh, I think that's Yaki Gaddafi. Behind 2Pac when the shooting took place. Sorry, Yaki. I didn't mean to call you Argentinian. Unfortunately, he was fatally shot in an apartment building in New Jersey in 96 before he was ever interviewed. By the late 90s, the investigation was at a standstill and members considered the case cold. Las Vegas police claimed witnesses were unwilling to cooperate. New evidence was scarce. Indeed, the homicide Sergeant Manning was quoted by the Las Vegas Sun saying 2Pac's murder may never be solved. Damn, thank you for your confidence. In May of 98, Anderson, then considered the primary suspect, was murdered and an allegedly unrelated shooting in Compton. You know that shit was related. LAPD Russell's Pool investigation into the murder of Biggie revealed connections between LAPD and Death Row Records. In 2002, Biggie's mother, Faith, and others filed a lawsuit against LAPD for the wrongful death and civil rights violations and connected with the failed investigation to Biggie's murder. In or around July of 2006, and in response to Wallace and Evans' Faith's wrongful death lawsuit, LAPD created a joint task force to reinvestigate Biggie's murder. That task force included detectives from LAPD, DEA, and the FBI. Greg Kading was appointed to lead the task force. After officers on the task force determined the deaths of Biggie and Tupac were indeed related, they broadened it to focus to include Tupac's murder as well. When Biggie's lawsuit was dismissed in 2010, the task force was disbanded. No arrests were made. Decades following Tupac's murder saw an endless stream of conspiracy theories. Some suggest that Biggie called for Tupac's death and that his own murder was an act of retaliation. Related theories suggest that Diddy commissioned Tupac's murder. Others claim that Tupac was planning to leave Death Row to start his own label, and Suge orchestrated the killing in response. Still, others theorize that Suge's ex-wife and his former head of security, Reggie, conspired to kill Suge, and Tupac was caught in the crossfire. Almost distressingly, some people have popularized the theory that Tupac is still alive. So all of y'all that are saying that Tupac is still alive, this is Mopreme saying that it's disturbingly false. It's cracking. None of those theories, however, were asserted by a single credible source and independently corroborated. Where fingers were pointed, denial followed. Biggie's mom denied Biggie's involvement with Tupac's death. Diddy has repeatedly professed to knowing nothing about Tupac's murder and has claimed that accusations he commissioned the murder were pure fiction. Suge Knight strongly denies theories that he helped kill Tupac. Wright has too denied involvement in Tupac's murder, calling that day one of the worst days in his life. Surprisingly, Tupac's family was unable to start a meaningful investigation, let alone discover true identities of the perpetrators. But for the first time in 30 years, threads are starting to come together. Come on, Mopreme. Come on, Mopreme. On September 29th, Keefe D was arrested and indicted for Tupac's murder. On or around June 25th of 24, during pretrial proceedings, the DA relied heavily on the investigative files compiled by Greg Kading during his work on the task force to oppose Keefe D's bail application, citing them as evidence that Keefe D posed a threat to the community. In a subsequent hearing on or around July 23rd, so about a month later, Keefe D's defense counsel complained that the prosecution was relying on Kading's files but withholding them from discovery. In response, the prosecution argued that the Kading files were not subject to disclosure because the prosecution did not intend to use them as evidence in their case in chief. On or around October 23rd, grand jury transcript, and I'm working on getting this for us guys, for Keefe D's criminal case. I was looking for them this weekend. That's actually how I found this. The transcript confirmed a number of details surrounding Tupac's murder, though numerous questions remain unanswered. The transcripts confirmed that in 2008, while the task force was still operational, Keefe D sat for a proffer session with LAPD and the FBI. The proffer session was subject to a confidentiality agreement, and the full contents of the statements were not previously made to the public. Following the release of the transcripts, members of Tupac's family made significant efforts to conduct their own investigation into Tupac's murder before filing this lawsuit. The family sought to speak with individuals who were close with Suge Knight, the Bloods, Keefe D, the Southside Crips, Bad Boy, including various recording artists who they believe possess valuable information about individuals related to Pac's murder. Their efforts were unsuccessful. Most of the individuals from their family contacted were unwilling to even confirm whether they had knowledge about the events surrounding Pac's death. And those who did agree to speak, most only provided secondhand accounts of what happened, not credible, actionable information. Upon information and belief, those believed to possess credible information declined to speak with Mopreme in anticipation of 50 Cent's documentary. Tupac's family also contacted Greg Kading in or around 2024. Though Kading was retired from the LAPD, members of Tupac's family understood that he retained copies of his case files related to his work on the task force, which were also in the hands of CCDA. The family requested access to those files. Kading declined. This is important, 106 right here, because it shows that Mopreme and the sister, they were trying to get their hands on Kading's case files. And you have to remember, Greg Kading wrote a book as well. I might have to order that one too on Amazon. But Greg Kading wrote a book. He also did what Keefe D did. He also did interviews with Vlad, Art of Dialogue. But if 2Pac's family wants to do an independent investigation, I wonder what the hesitation was all about you sharing that information with them if you really want justice for 2Pac. Are you not also profiting? This is crazy, chat. This really is insane. Like this is like a hip hop murder mystery. Like I feel like we're at a murder mystery dinner. Who killed 2Pac? And who was involved? And if you're the detective in the case, why wouldn't you want to help family? That's a little weird. That's a little weird. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. At least from a legal perspective, I do find that a bit strange. On or about May 24th of 2024, counsel for 2Pac's family had a call with representatives with the DA's office to discuss the developments in Keefe D's trial. During that call, the DA's office confirmed that the office had no plans on bringing additional charges against anyone else connected to 2Pac's murder. This is what sent me. This one right here is what sent me. So we're going to go after Keefe D. We know other people are involved, but you're not going to go after anybody else. Granted, they might not have evidence to go after anybody else, but they might have enough to get Keefe D. So I think that's really where it's coming from. I don't want this to come from a place that the DA's office is not doing good, because you guys watched the hearing with me last week. They were on their toes. You know, Keefe D's attorney thinks that this is light work. He's just like, oh yeah, it's circumstantial at best. But as we're getting deeper into this, they might have some shit on Keefe D. They might have some shit on him. Throw a dog a bone. Though prosecutors stated that it would consider naming additional defendants if new information were discovered, they confirmed that Keefe D was their only viable target. Things began to change on December 2nd when 50 released his documentary, The Reckoning, created and produced by Curtis Jackson, 50 Cent, and Alex Stapleton. The documentary revealed for the first time information from individuals close to Diddy during the 90s that was not previously available to 2Pac's family. The Netflix documentary and the transcript collectively revealed evidence suggesting that Keefe D and Diddy had involvement in 2Pac's murder and that others were involved as well. For example, the transcript turned a prevailing theory that Orlando Anderson was a trigger man on its head. Okay, they break this down. We have 2 paragraphs from the transcript from Keefe D's indictment. Since 1995, Anderson had widely considered as the primary suspect in 2Pac's murder. He got into an altercation with 2Pac the night of the shooting. The LA Sheriff's Department identified him as a trigger man based on information from an informant, and LAPD detective identified Anderson as a primary suspect following his detention and questioned him in connection with the LAPD's gang unit raid in October of that year. But for the first time in decades, a contradictory story was told to the grand jury. Ooh, I forgot about this paragraph. Devonta Dirt Rock Lee, a former member of the Crips, testified under oath that he knew Big Dre since childhood. That comes from a grand jury transcript. Lee and Smith were roommates at Hawthorne at the time of 2Pac's murder. After the shooting, Smith told Lee what happened. According to Lee, Keefe D passed the firearm to Orlando in the back seat, giving Orlando the chance to redeem himself for the MGM beating. But Anderson didn't have a clear shot because Smith, who Lee described as 6'6" and 370, 400 pounds, was seated in the back driver's seat of the seat. So you got this big dude next to you, so you don't have a clear shot. He's too big. Lee testified, you're not going to be able to lean over a big guy like that and get a shot because shells would have been popping all in Big Dre's face and all kind of stuff. He didn't bend down or anything. He's too big. Smith then took the gun and fired the shots. And when asked directly, Lee confirmed, you told them that you did the shooting? He did the shooting. Lee further testified that Smith did not seek credit for the shooting, allowing Anderson to maintain his reputation in the gang. So now we have the gun in the car being moved around. You have the driver, you have Keefe D, you have Baby Lane, you have Orlando, and then you have the fat guy. Okay? So apparently Orlando couldn't get a clear shot. Keefe D said, redeem yourself, young man. Redeem yourself. You know, Diddy, brother love, give me all this money and get this done. This is all about the fight you had. This shit is so crazy. Go ahead, get your shot. I can't, Unc. There's this big ninja right here. He's too big. I can't sneak around him. So now we're saying that the driver did this shit. Exactly. Zip gave y'all the gun to do. Alan, I don't understand this thing. Now I'm having some doubts here. The Netflix documentary contained interviews from high-level executives with Bad Boy that lent credibility to a theory that could have been repeatedly denied. Diddy was involved in 2Pac's murder. According to Barrows, in early September, Diddy requested that they rent cars to drive from New York to Vegas. How long is that? That's a long-ass drive. And hire drivers to go to the Tyson match. That comes from episode 2 of The Reckoning. Barrows arranged the car rentals and hired drivers from Harlem. Barrows has notebooks recording the car rentals. Ooh, well, I do remember seeing that in episode 2. Remember Kirk Barrows' his handwriting and everything that was on those documentaries? Following the success of 2Pac's single Hit 'Em Up, Diddy was reportedly nervous. In or around the summer of 96, Diddy took a trip to California with Zip. At Diddy's request, Keefe D met with him and Zip at Greenblatt's Deli on the Sunset Strip in California. During that meeting, Diddy told Keefe D that he had a couple problems that he needed handled. Big CEO, meaning Suge Knight, and Pac. Keefe D confirmed that he and his crew were up to the task, telling Diddy that he would make it happen. Keefe D told his crew, the Ninja Puffy wants us to take care of Big CEO, Suge, and Pac. I bet the Ninja would give us $1 million for them Ninjas' heads. Oh my God. Upon information and belief. This actually comes, that's a quote from the transcript. Just gonna give me a headache. Keefe D on September 8th of 96 reportedly returned to LA where he met with Zip. That also comes from the documentary. During that meeting, Diddy called Zip and asked, was that us? In reference to 2Pac's killing. Keefe D confirmed that it was. Zip later reportedly received a $500,000 payment, which was supposed to be forwarded to Keefe D for killing 2Pac. Though Keefe D requested $1 million, Diddy was only willing to pay half because Suge Knight survived. Keefe D reportedly never received the $500,000 payment from Zip because Zip ran off and zipped off with the money. But during the episode of the Netflix documentary, Barrows said, the co-founder of Bad Boy, said the following: I think that Diddy, now in my mature mind, had a lot to do with the death of 2Pac. That's his thought, though. Despite having access to at least Keefe D's statement, law enforcement officials have claimed that they did not consider Diddy a suspect. In 1999, Diddy released the song Muscle Game. Some of the lyrics state, F with me, I'll drop $1 million on your head. Erase you, your whole family, biatch. Come on. Now that's muscle. Rap lyrics as evidence. At the time, the lyrics of Muscle Game were just lines to a rap song. In the wake of the release of the transcripts and the Netflix documentary, they seem to have a new meaning, an admission that Diddy was involved in the murder of 2Pac. All right, Pac family, what do y'all want? Here are the counts. Number 1, wrongful death in violation of California Civil Code. What else? I'm not going to read you guys the law. 2Pac died intestate. He had no surviving spouse, no partner or children. Mopreme and all of them are entitled to the estate. Afani died. The father died. Next, wrongful acts. Keefe D and Doe's 1 through 100. Who are these people? 1 through 100 committed intentional wrongful acts that directly and proximately caused the death of 2Pac. Specifically, defendants planned, coordinated, financed, directed, or executing the shooting of 2Pac that night. The murder of 2Pac was carried out in furtherance of a conspiracy among the defendants. The elements of conspiracy are having 1, an agreement. 2, having some overt acts that are included. 3, they result in death, and the damages are the proximate cause of the defendant's wrongful acts. So their prayer for relief. Find that the defendants violates the laws of civil procedure, that they intended to do this, and that the foreseeable result would cause the defendant's plaintiff's deaths and the defendant's scheme. They want money for the loss of losing 2Pac, special damages, hospital medical professional expenses, loss of earnings that 2Pac would have made, punitive damages, pre and post judgment interest, all of that. Okay, this was filed low-key, nobody knew about it, on April 28th of 26. So it's almost kind of going in tandem around the same time that that Keefe D is going to trial. And Keefe D's trial got pushed back a few times, guys. Like now we're actually going on August 10th. You know, we are going on August 10th. That's a few days from now. So this is it's pretty serious. I did not know that Mopreme filed this. I just came across this thing by myself on Saturday because I was looking for the Keefe D transcript to make fun of the self-snitching. I was going to look for that. I ordered the book. I had ordered the book, and I went to go and look for the transcript for you guys, and then I found this. And I said, oh, shit. And then when I was looking at who was assigned as the attorneys, you could see that he started with 2 attorneys. But Mopreme just got Alex Spiro added to the case file, and the judge granted it on July 10th, 10 days ago. And you have to remember the hearing before trial is on the 28th. So if Alex Spiro is coming in right now, and like I said at the beginning of the stream, I know I've been doing a lot of reading. That's Jay-Z's attorney that got Jay-Z off of the whole Jane Doe bullshit, because that woman said that her and Diddy, you know, and Jay-Z and some woman, like when she was underage, something happened or whatever, and she drove 7 hours both ways from the VMAs or something like that. The whole story was crazy. If that attorney is coming in and he got that case to go away, Keefe D is cooked. But if Alex Spiro's coming on to this, they might have something. They might have something. But I just can't figure out yet if they're coming at Diddy, because there's a lot of evidence in this complaint, at least, that is centered on the Netflix documentary from the wintertime. I know, Alan, none of it makes sense. And Diddy's about to come out. He's about to come out next month. I imagine, and this trial is going to be televised. Imagine if he gets subpoenaed as a witness. Hoo-wee. Let me come into some super chats. I'm getting the hell up out of here, guys. I've been reading for, we're almost at 2 hours. Almost at 2 hours. Shout out to Miss Cat Not Williams. I love her so much. You guys have to follow her. She's a fellow law tuber. She's been around as long as I have, and it is amazing. She's like my law tube little sister. I love her so much. She gifted 5 AV memberships. If you got one of the memberships, I did not catch them, but please say thank you. She has been with me for 28 months. Kat has been a member on my channel for over 2 years. Thank you, Kat. Thank you so much. She says, I love a Spiro filing. And this one is not filed by Spiro, but he has just joined the case as of the 10th. So when you bring super lawyers on, something going on. Don Vicente hit me with the 20, says, light skin litigator, miss you over on Leeds channel, but so glad you're doing your own thing over here. Whatever happened to Melly? Melly is sitting until 2027. At that point, he will have been in jail for over 10 years. It's a long time. But Melly also has a super lawyer. Everybody's hiring Brian Steele right now. He's in high demand. Did he hire Brian Steele? And everybody is hiring Drew Feinling. Melly's main attorney, he swapped a bunch of them out. Melly now has Feinling. So Melly at least has a good attorney moving forward. And these are like elite criminal defense attorneys. And I know like a lot of them pop up in these hip hop cases, but that's because they're good lawyers. You know what I mean? Like they're really good attorneys. They're sharks. So that's what happened to Melly. Melly is going for his second trial. It was supposed to start. He was supposed to have a second trial, but remember his first one ended up in a mistrial. So it has to be tried again. So he was going to have a second trial on some other bullshit charges about a fucking note or something like that, witness intimidation. That ended up getting thrown out. That case got closed. So that's why we did not get a January trial for Melly. Would have been a second trial for him. But we're going to go back to the original trial, which is going to be retried in 2027. So that is what's going on over there. Don Vicente with the 10 says, I know this isn't about Pac, but Ninja Burger is crazy. Oh my God. I went on a 20-minute rant, if you are watching this right now or came and joined us late, about how much I disdain Argentina and how racist they are against other races. Like it don't even matter. You could be Hispanic, you could be Latino, you could be Black, you could be Asian. They just don't like anybody. And it's just like, let's just build a little border around a wall around y'all. Y'all can just stay down there. Don't interact with the rest of the world. You know, so they had a restaurant in Argentina called Ninja Burger or Big Ninja Burger. I showed you guys a video of it at the beginning. Audio issues, but shenanigans. Thank you so much, Don V. Shout out to For F's Sake, who's been with me for 23 months, almost also at the 2-year mark, says, love what you've been doing. Keep up the great work. Yeah, because like you guys know, everybody comes for the party. Everybody comes for the party. When we have the trial streams, and you'll see thousands of people in this chat, but I like to slow build up to the cases that I cover. So that means the research happens weeks before. I will look at all the evidence, and we started playlists for all of you guys, right? So we're going to have a whole Keefe D merch. It's going to say, brother love, where's the love? So we're going to have that. I'm now going to start looking at every single piece of evidence that they have against Keefe D, and we will talk about it in shorter, like 10-minute videos. Any new updates with the cases, stuff like that. Yellow Beezy's coming up tomorrow with David. It's going to be a big week. Your girl is already tired thinking about it. But I'm here for y'all. This is what I do. You missed the Ninja Burger. Just go to the beginning, Alan. I mean, yeah, we got a lot of cases this year, guys. Yeah, Manny, you're right. You are right. They got rid of all Black people. Like, not even that. I need darker skinned Hispanics. And like Brazilians really talked about this. Oh, when am I going to interview Fulio's mom? She just did her Vlad interview. I will DM her tonight. But I knew that was coming. We had been in touch for a few months now. I wanted to originally bring her on in December after Alicia's sentencing, but you guys remember what happened with that. Alicia never got sentenced. She got her appeal. So then I said, okay, let's revise and come back to it once the boys have their round at it. And so I just gave her some space and time. We've been in touch. We've been talking behind the scenes, but we'll get that scheduled for you guys. I do think for Fulio fans, it'd be great to hear from her. Her Vlad interview is coming out in pieces this week. She's really excited about it. And she's actually pretty cool with wanting to talk to people about keeping Folio's story alive. And for my members, like you guys know, whenever I bring people on the channel, number one, I'm very careful about it. But number two, I want to make sure that it's as comfortable as possible. You know, we had an ordeal last year with an interview that didn't go very well. So I want to prevent that for the viewing experience from happening again. So I'm a little bit more careful with who I decide to bring on the channel. And I also want to make sure that you guys will enjoy the experience and things of the like, because, you know, there be people out here trolling, you know. So anywho, Juan Carlos is like, what interview was that? I don't know if you being funny. But there was just one. I don't even want to talk about it, but like, you know, it was just kind of, and it really wasn't big on my end. Like, it's probably the first time I bought a non-lawyer on the channel. So, you know, I was kind of covering a case last year and I bought a non-attorney on the channel, and they kind of wanted, and they were a creator too. They kind of wanted to run the interview, but it's just like, you over here. And like, I know my audience backwards and forwards. I know you guys. I look at these analytics every morning. I know what you like. I know what you don't like. I know when you guys will challenge me, and even when you don't. I know this audience so well. But I also know that sometimes you guys are not familiar with stuff. So when I interview the person, I tried to keep it extremely high level. And they got offended that I kept it high level. I was like, they got offended to the point where, like, you know, they apologized, retracted their apology, went on Twitter and tried to embarrass me when I had full blown receipts that we had gone back and here's the best part. The person was here. I interviewed them before. I didn't change the style of interview. That's how I talk to people. I did not change anything. I don't know if they just woke up on the wrong side of the bed or what. And like, you know, it was kind of sad because every person that had ever been interviewed on this channel, you guys know Ashley Merchant, lead attorney, all the YSL attorneys, Doug Weinstein, I even had the CEO of West Coast Trial Lawyers on. Everybody has been very professional, cordial, amazing. All the interviews on this channel have been historically beautiful. No problems. But this person was offended. And I was like, you know what? I'm not even going to fight you on it. Take it. Take it. Keep it. Then you want to put a tweet out and get 200,000 views and say AV is a piece of shit? Go ahead. But I was the only person of color to cover that case, and it's just really sad. So it is what it is. It is what it is. Y'all are like, who did it? Who did it? We gonna slide for AV. What's going on? Who did it? But anyway, when you guys talk about Quinn Emanuel and so, that is a law firm that Mopreme has retained. And I'll teach you guys this as we go. If you're new here, like, you know, when I read legal documents, the very last page is an attorney has to sign the complaint. And that is usually the law firm that is representing what we are talking about as far as the subject matter. I'm going to tell y'all one day. But, you know, I went to law school. So, and the person I interviewed didn't. But yeah, I've been studying the law for 7 years. I love what I do. And I have exclusively decided to only cover cases that involve people of color. Like, that's it. I'm sorry. If I'm going to use my platform, that's what I'm going to do. Like, I want to give back in a way where people will receive it and appreciate it. So it is what it is. I'm not going to bait y'all. All right, let's get up on out of here, guys. I want y'all to have a wonderful day. We will be back tomorrow. It's 8 p.m. now. I have to see what they're going to do with the David case. They're going to lock that joint down from what I am seeing. kind of like what they did with the kid down in Texas, Carmelo Anthony's case. No cameras in the courtroom. They're limiting the seats down to 10. So even reporters, there's going to be some pre-approved reporters, but I do think that we're going to be kind of locked solid out of the David case. I will see what happens, because I have been noticing that Trap Lord Ross has been going to these trials in Cali. So we'll see what happens with that one. But Yellow Beezy also has a hearing this week on the 24th. When is that? Friday. And there was a televised hearing last week, so we can also catch up on that one. And then I do need to do a few Keefe D videos. So we're going to be busy. We are going to be busy. But anyway, let me get some food. And all that stuff. Y'all are like, come back to Georgia. I'm trying to move, man. I was living down there. I miss the A. I really do miss Atlanta sometimes, but we will see what happens. But I do need to leave Boston. Like, it's too much up here. All right, y'all. Have a wonderful night. Stay safe out there. See you in the next one. Bye.